This is section 13.5, and this is example 1. So we just talked about the idea of curl F and how to calculate it and our little sort of shortcut formula. And so now we're just going to try one. And this isn't too bad. Cross product is a little bit lengthy at times, but it's very manageable. So curl F is going to be the cross product, and we have our unit vectors and our derivative operators. And by the way, you don't need to use this technique. You can just use the formula from the first page of your notes. But this might be just an easier way to sort of organize things. Okay, so then we have our first component, which is x, z. And then our second component, x, y, z. And then our third component, negative y squared. Okay, so we have then our cross product. So we have the partial derivative of negative y squared with respect to y, which is going to be negative 2y, minus partial derivative with respect to z, which is going to be xy. And then we have the partial with respect to y, which is going to be 0, minus partial with respect to z, which is just going to be x. And then we have our last one, which is going to be yz minus 0. Okay, so then this simplifies to negative 2y minus xy, and then x, and then y, z. And that is curl F. So that's all there is to it. Okay, so the gradient of a function f is a vector, and so technically we can calculate the curl of this. So remember, when we set up our cross product here, we have our unit vectors and our partial derivative operators. And then remember, we have the gradient of f. And the gradient of f is just the partial derivative of f with respect to x, and the partial derivative of f with respect to y, and the partial derivative of f with respect to z. So again, the three components that are on the bottom here, those are all just your gradient components of that, gradient vector f. Okay, so then what we get here, if we simplify this, is the partial derivatives. So we have the second derivative of f first with respect to z, then y, minus the partial of f, so the second derivative of f first with respect to y, and then z, times vector I, minus second derivative of f first with respect to z, then x, then the second derivative of f first with respect to z, then x, times j. And you probably are starting to see a little bit of a pattern here. Then we have the second derivative of f first with respect to y, then x, and then the second derivative of f with respect to x, and then y. And if you notice, because of Clairaut's theorem, each one of these is going to be canceled out to 0. And so what we get is the 0 vector, or yeah, I guess we could just do it that way. If that doesn't make sense, we could do it this way too. So we end up getting the 0 vector here. And this is a little theorem, and this theorem is really helpful to us because it is actually a way for us to test whether or not f is conservative. So since we have this little proof for the gradient vector, since on a conservative field, the gradient vector is the vector field we're analyzing. If f is conservative, then if we take the curl of f, it's equal to 0. So it's kind of a way for us to test whether or not a specific vector field is conservative or not. So just sort of have that in your back pocket, your tool belt, to make sure you can test if needed. Okay, the next video we'll do the next example.